Story time, friends. Just because I feel like it needs to be told. I've been put into a situation again where I feel unsafe and unprotected by outside sources for myself and the things I'm responsible to. And it is causing me such an unsettling feeling. And it's been going on for a long time, but it's come to a head recently. And I'm trying to kind of stay out of the sun because it's not helping with my worry marks. Let me first tell you about the story where I experienced this before. When I was 19, I got my first apartment. It was in January. And at the end of June that year, the building next to mine caught on fire. And there were 6 units, 2-story condo types units in that building, and they all burned down. We actually were coming back to the apartment, saw the smoke. I'm like, oh wow, there's smoke over that way. And then as we kept getting closer, then we started seeing the fire trucks that were literally rolling into the apartment complex. And they were going to the building next to ours. The tenants in one of the center units had gone out partying for the night, and they left the candles burning in the house with their pets, large dog and cats. And one of the animals knocked the candle over, caused a fire, and it burned down all of those units. All the animals in that particular unit died. Just to say, God is still with all kinds of situations. 2 units over, there was a family of 4 that had gone to visit their grandparents in North Carolina the day that this fire happened, and they had left their spaniel type dog in its plastic crate near the back door of their unit. And the heat from the fire caused the motorcycle that was sitting on the patio next to their back sliding glass door, caused that motorcycle to explode, which broke the sliding glass window, and the heat melted the plastic crate enough for the dog to get out, and that dog survived. So, shitty things happen, but still, that guy got out of there. When I was coming home, it was about sunset, so the people that had gone out for the night and had left their candles burning, they didn't know that this had happened until they got home. So between 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning, everything had settled down. Fire department was gone. Everybody was gone. But when they arrived home, they were screaming. So me and the girl who lived in the apartment above me went out there and trying to console them, because not only have they lost all of their things, their animals died. I think there was 5 in there. This was in 2002, so a little ways ago for me to try to remember, but 20 years ago. So it hit me then that I cannot allow other people to be responsible for I can't allow other people to affect the things that I was responsible for. At the time in that apartment, I had 5 cats, and I was newly out on my own. I had moved out of my parents' house when I was 17, but this was my first apartment where I was out on my own, and I had bought all my things, and I didn't want somebody else's negligence to be responsible for me losing everything that I had worked for and I'd loved. So I made the decision, I'm going to move out. And like I said, that was the end of June. I'd have to look back at that exact date because I actually recorded it. I recorded it all, I have VHS. Oh my gosh. Okay, dude, where I'm set up at, there was a wasp that just came out of nowhere and dive bombed me. So I'm back. Anyway, I recorded it all. I have a VHS, and I'd have to go back and look at the date. But I do have the date of the entire event, the fire. And they I actually, the fire department got a copy of it so they could use it for training. Anyway, that was the end of June, and I signed a contract on the house, my first home that I purchased on July 26th of 2002. And we moved out. Thankfully, they let me out of my year lease early, because at the time, every time I would go and pay my little rent payment down at the apartment office, I would take the girls either food or some sort of treat or a little gift. And so they let me out of my lease early without charging me extra funds. They kept my deposit, but I didn't care for the peace of mind of having my own space. And so that is what forced me into moving and buying my first home, was because of the fact that I had gotten super uncomfortable that something else outside of me was could have a negative impact on the animals that I love, the things that I have worked hard for. So now we fast forward to today. It's February 24th, 2022, 20 years later. And I have this unsettling feeling that I have got to get out of where I'm at. There's been a few different things, it is the year that it is, and our world, our planet, but our nation has been going through some junk. Now we're at war again, people are moving to upstate South Carolina because of the freedom that we have. I only say that because, organizing the farmers market, I run into a lot of people that are so excited. They come and tell me about their reasons that they moved to the area and how much they love this event. Like, oh, I love coming to this because we just moved to the area last year, and we love all the freedoms you have. We love your ability to have choices around here. We love, our financial situation is so much better down here. We love. So everybody's moved to the area, right? Like, no begrudging you of that. I love this area. Like, you're close to the beach, you're close to the mountains, you have all the things. You do have freedom and choices to do things down here. So I don't begrudge anybody of coming to the area. When I bought my little place out where I'm at now, I have 3 acres. I could, from the original house that I bought, which was over in Greenville 15 years ago, actually it's almost 16 years. In 2006, I bought this house here in Greer, and it came with 3 acres, which is partially owned by this right of way. Like, I pay the taxes on the property, but there is a utility right of way here. My house is over that away. I do own 2 lots here. So I own the house that I live in, and I own the lot next door, which is where my farm animals are kept. My chickens, my goats, my pony. I have a goat that's been having some problems with his legs, and he's an old guy, so I'm worried about that. But anyway, because of all the growth in the area, all the utilities are having to be updated. Right across the street from my house, behind the people that live across the street from my house, there was just a large wooded space over there that was sold earlier this year, and now it's getting prepped for 30 more homes that'll be built. So they're upgrading the power, and they're upgrading the sewer, and they're upgrading the water lines, and they're upgrading all the things. Duke Power is upgrading their overall. If you can see right, let's see, right here, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 lines right in there that are super, super vibrant. You can see them. They're really thick, and that's because they just ran those, and they're not currently in use, but they will be, because there's some lower power lines on these wooden power lines. That's like one right over here. And those lines are smaller, and eventually they're getting replaced by what they've just put in once they hit on the other end of the line where they're replacing, and they hit their main electrical grid over there. Once all of the replacement of the power lines are done over there, then they're taking down the wooden ones, and they've put up these bigger metal ones. Anyway, just upgrading all the utilities for the area, because so many people are moving in, right? So they were upgrading some electrical. They're putting in a new electrical box in my front yard. So currently part of my front yard is just mud. I already have enough mud. If you ever saw my property, there's already enough mud around here, and that's just added to it because they're putting all these utilities in the ground, and they're digging in my front yard because I have one electrical box, and they're adding another electrical box to feed the new houses that are being moved into the area. They hit a water main a couple of weeks ago, flooded the front yard, almost flooded my chicken, like it flooded my chicken enclosure, but not the actual coop. It was just about a foot away from getting there. And yesterday I was away from home for my board meeting for the Gray Farmers Market, and I get back home, and the guy tells me, hey, you may want to check some things inside your house because we had a little power issue out here. So I go inside, and there are certain things in the house that aren't working. My microwave's not working. My garage lights, which is where I keep my rescue dogs in their crates, like they're in pitch black. And because I always leave the light on there day and night, that they have lights, and they're in the pitch black, and there's several things that's just not working. I walk into my bedroom and I smell something burning. And at first I thought it was the box that the DVR type box that my security system plugs into. After doing a little bit more looking, I come to find out it was the surge protector that was completely melted. What they had done outside was they had hit the neutral circle that allows the power to only be like 110 or whatever when you're going in your house, and it made it a solid 240 that was surging through my house for however span of time. I don't know because I wasn't here. And there's just been all of these things, like with Duke Power upgrading these power lines back here. They have been getting onto me by the fact that I use my right of way for my fencing for my farm animals, and I do that in order to allow them to eat like the kudzu and the vines and the BS that grows up down there, because the way Duke Power's peoples handle it, like they just go and they spray toxic chemicals, right? That's like every once in a while, usually once a year, sometimes once every other year, but they come through and there's a group of like 30 dudes just completely hazmat suited out, walking through the fields, spraying God knows what. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't ever gotten bees, but I want to, and I think about the people that do have bees when they're spraying crap like that. Like, the way that I manage all of that junk on my property for them is that I just have farm animals that can eat that. Anyway, so Duke Power has given me harassment. The utility guys that's been working in front of my house, like super sweet, but still it sucks. I work from home. There's 40 bazillion trucks out. They're in my front yard working. I have to move my crap that's on my property that I do still own. And yes, they have a utility easement that's partially off the road. Like, I get it. But the fact that all of that stuff that they're doing, that mud runs downhill. I live on a hill. Like, my whole yard just, here's my house, and the rest of it just slopes down like that. So I'm still having stuff that handles because of that. Not that I'm complaining. People have a lot worse things going on. But yesterday I was away from my home, and something happened that was out of my control, and it could have burned my house down and killed all my animals. And I'm unsettled. Like, a lot of things have been making me unsettled, but is this what is, trying to push me to make another move? And I don't have the ability to finance something else. Like, my only debt is my home, and that's my debt to income ratio. Like, that's just how everything is wrapped up. So do I move all my guys into an RV so I can sell my home and have that equity? I have tons of equity in my home because my goal has been to be debt free. And so the only debt that I have is the money, which is not much money, that I owe on my house, but I also don't have it in cash to pay it off either. So I don't know. I'm just hoping that I am shown a way, because my business is good. And if other things in life could not have me so stressed out, I feel like I have a win just on the other side of the hurdle. But right now, I'm climbing and I'm climbing and I'm climbing, and sometimes I just feel like I'm drowning. And part of that is just my, like, I have, sometimes my insides can be dark and sad and down. And part of it is because, like, you know, I feel like something's trying to shake loose. I don't know what it is, but I wish I could figure it out.